need to talk about our radiothon, Embrace Your Station.
Embrace your station.
So we've got people out here waiting on the phone, or you can go online, 3mbs.org.au, and subscribe. And you just heard about fabulous prizes, the daily prizes, and a huge prize at the end of the whole thing. But this is how we keep going, because if you're out there subscribing, we're on air. So we're going to talk with Kate. You've just been to see Cavalcade, which I saw, and it's fabulous.
Yes.
Fabulous.
So you saw it on the opening, and I saw it on the third night when there was a tiny, tiny crowd. So tell me what you experienced. Well, let's say Cavalcade, Will Henderson was here a couple of weeks ago talking about it, and he's created in the past with Wits End, the company that he has staged shows with in the 11th Hour Theatre.
It's a fabulous little venue.
Yeah,
yes.
in Fitzroy. So it's an eccentric piece, isn't it, Cavalcade?
It's very eccentric. Well, we had a full house because it was the sort of opening night. It defies description. You really probably need to see it at least twice from different points of view, and even in that small theatre, because there's so much going on. But I'll hand over to you to talk about it. And we've got Peter Dumsday coming in on Music in Melbourne to talk about his part in it, playing the piano.
Oh, yes, and he plays some Eric Satie, which is Sport et Divertissement, which is a rarely performed piece of Eric Satie music, and he's live on stage with a bowler hat with a tiny piano on top of it, sitting on his head. The Cavalcade, as Nick was saying, it does defy description. It is an eccentric, and look, I'll just say, leave your expectations of a narrative at the door because you ain't getting one. You enter through this rather lovely courtyard into this little theatre with bench seats that are quite comfortable. They're cushioned. And it's Dada, if you know what Dada is or do not. It's travelled from 100 years ago in Vienna in the Cabaret Voltaire to Fitzroy. So it's essentially a Dadaist, absurd, bizarre, cacophonous, well, not even cacophonous, sort of a melange of clown and a bit of circus, and there's Dada artists make odd little appearances in the form or echoes of them in, for example, Marcel Duchamp's Fountain, the urinal, is a feature. There are Magritte-style images, men with bowler hats and a strange little unicycle sitting on, or a wheel sitting on top of a stool that essentially is a unicycle. A lot of bicycle imageries. One person described it as the biography of the bicycle. So there's velocipede and a beautiful tandem that the two performers, there are two actors in it, Peter Houghton and Tom Considine playing Evelyn and Vivian. They are riding this tandem rather seriously. So they come in and out, they crash backstage. Meanwhile, they are essentially two cleaners. This is the conceit. They're two cleaners who are trying to do the show while the actors are stranded on a bus somewhere in Frankston or Lara or Bayswater eventually. It's bonkers. Lots of text from different writers, the Eric Satie, as I said, some lovely piano. It's really interesting and indescribable, really. So get there and have a look, and the space is gorgeous, and you get wine out in the courtyard, which is lovely. So I have Once the musical, and I've seen Once thrice. The first one I saw twice, this one I've seen once. This is a production by Darlinghurst Theatre, and it runs until the 4th of June. I didn't tell you about Cavalcade runs till the 21st of May. So this musical is written by Glenn Hansard, who's Irish, and Makita Erglova, his writing partner, who is Czech, lives in Ireland, I presume. It's charming. It's a love story that isn't requited. It's beautiful music, a mixture of all sorts of styles of music, indie rock, Celtic rock, pop rock, plenty of minor keys, beautiful songs, including Falling Slowly, which is a lyrical and silky Oscar-winning duet from the film of the same name, which was made on almost no budget. I'm moving rapidly to Loaded, which is at the Malthouse until the 28th of May. This is a solo performance by, the performance is by Danny Ball, who I think is extraordinary. Never seen him before. I think he's a Sydney actor from what I can glean. It's riveting. It's extraordinary. It's alarming. He plays Christos Tsiolkos' character from his book of the same name, a 1990s book. He's a 19-year-old gay Greek youth called Ari, and it's a brutal, hedonistic, high-octane, drug addled, sex-sodden night in this young man's life. He doesn't want to be Greek, he doesn't want to be gay, he doesn't want to be anything. So there's a lot of questions about identity. It's been dragged into the 21st century by Tsiolkas with Dan Giovannoni, who has written the script with him for the play, directed by Stephen Nicolazzo. And it is really an extraordinary night. It's so fast-paced, you barely get time to take a breath, but nor does he. And he's muscular, and he's going from club to club, and anonymous sexual partner to another, and it's very explicit. So the content is quite confronting. I would say, if you can handle that kind of thing, it's really, really worth seeing. And Danny Ball has impeccable vocal, physical and acting technique. I think he's a NIDA graduate. He's muscular, he's sensual, he plays Ari with this manic energy and nuanced delivery. It's a wonderful piece. So he's populating the stage with other characters. It's 95 minutes of hard work for him. I will talk at our last moment about Happy Days, Samuel Beckett's play, which is the Melbourne Theatre Company is doing until the 10th of June, with Judith Lucy in what I'd call almost solo performance. She's a stand-up comic. She's worked alone on stage in comedy, but not in this kind of theatre, although there is a character she plays Winnie, and her husband Willie appears momentarily. Hayden Spencer plays Willie, who just pops up and down in his tighty whities, looking sort of mostly naked apart from a boater hat. It's funny, it's grim, it's classic Beckett, it's an existential dilemma. Winnie is buried up to her waist in the first half in a mound of earth. She can't move, but she tries to remain cheerful, and it's a happy day. Doing her hair and checking her lipstick and checking in her bag, she pulls out a revolver, and you realise that maybe this is just in case she just can't survive. The second half, she's up to her neck, which is much more grim. So it's taxing on the actor. And I think Judith Lucy does a really good job on a play that is very, very difficult. Of course, it's been done by Julie Forsyth 8 or so years ago, performed by very famous. The first one was Billy Whitelaw. Oh, yes. Second, 1979 production. So it's a tall order to do this show. And I will just mention that I'm seeing tomorrow, so I can't talk about it today, Jack Hibbard's new play at La Mama Courthouse, Killing Time. There'll only be one day left of it when I get back in 2 weeks. I want to alert people that it's on because I love Jack Hibbard.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Kate.